Well, Kev, it's always fantastic to see you back at Edgeley Park. You and I don't know if you're aware of this, you and I were born a day apart. You're older, obviously. When you come back inside this stadium, what emotions do you feel? How do you feel?
You definitely get choked up being back here, and it's just like a coffin of memories. There's so many things just keep flooding back, and so many flashes in the mind, and it's hard to kind of slow it down and then just pick out individual moments. But just being there, like, it's just goosebumps.
117 goals in your 4 years here at County. Is the one that stands out for you?
That's probably one of the biggest questions that I get asked, like, just to pick one. It's like, I don't know, all of them stand out. I mean, like the goal at Wembley, not many people will achieve that state. The first goal against Wrexham, which seems to be poignant now with the stem that like County are fighting with for promotion. Goals against Forest. I think there's too many just to pick out just one. Because to me, and hopefully to the fans and that, like, every one of them meant something. Every one of them kind of put the club on a pedestal to achieve bigger and better things. Just
going back in time, I mean, it all started for you at Mile Oak Rovers, which I don't think is even going now, is it? Mile Oak Rovers?
No, it's not.
Finished
no.
now.
Yeah.
But you got picked up by Derby, went to the baseball ground. Huge move. I mean, absolutely colossal move for you. You weren't. You were a sub mainly, weren't you? You got lots of sub appearances, but you played the reserves, and that's where Danny Bergara first spotted you.
Yeah.
Having conversation with Danny since, what did he see in you? What do you think he saw that attracted him to make that move?
I think definitely seen the size and the chaos that I used to cause from like more or less everything and just being on the pitch. I like to think that it was the hard work ethic that I've always had and put into the game, and it was an integral part of the jigsaw that Danny was building at the time, where he thought, that's a piece that he needs, and that's what he seemed to do throughout my time here. We just build the club like with small pieces, and then like it would just click on the green stuff. And like you say, I mean, I didn't have to leave Derby. I was enjoying Derby. It was a great big move for me personally to get there from non-league. And then I think when suddenly someone else shows interest in you and someone else wants you and they've got a vision and a plan for you, it kind of makes it clear for yourself. So, I mean, from coming up here just to talk to him to being here for like 3.5 hours, and then it's like, yeah, I'm going to sign. And I thought, well, I need to go and phone Sharon and let her know, I suppose. So.
But I mean, you look at your career, and I remember watching you, obviously, and everything you touched turned to goals. I mean, even that first season, I think you came in the March, County finished second. You scored 5 really important goals towards the end of that campaign, including a couple on the final day. Promotion straight away. I mean, it's remarkable.
Yeah, I think one of the things I've always said, even from back then, was like I seen it as one step backwards to take 2 steps forwards, and it was in the building and the prepping for me. I think it was important that I made the move. I enjoy scoring goals. I love scoring goals, and that seemed like the part of the game that seemed easy to me. And then, as any other striker would tell you, it's when you miss a chance, it's not so much, oh well, I'll get another one. It's like you feel that's it. So then you try and work harder to create and score another one. And then I think as my game evolved under Danny, it was like not just scoring them, it's creating them. It gives you just as much as a buzz. But yeah, I mean, if like, and I tell the guys that I coach now, like 1 yard out, 30 yards out, you only get 1 goal. So it doesn't matter as long as you get that goal.
There were 4 Wembley finals, of course, and the one I'm always drawn to, I think, is the Port Vale one, because of not only the goal but the fans. I mean, the fans were just incredible that day. I mean, that's probably the reason you keep coming back, isn't it, the fans?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the welcome has always been great, and I think even from day one when I signed, it was great. That is one of the games that stands out. That goal was a great goal, and I think, as you talked about goals that mean something, it was the goal that was disallowed before that, which was exactly the same as the goal that counted. And I think that one meant more to me because we were robbed. And I think things could have changed for the club more dynamically then if we'd have got that result. But that day was a fantastic day. I mean, the volume, the noise, and I think that infected like County fans that weren't fully 100% committed, and from then on it kind of grew. But yeah, that was a definitely noise, and he just lifted us throughout the whole day.
I think the other game that did that, Kev, I don't know if you agree with this, but the other one that sticks in my memory, and I commentated on some scaffolding. That stand wasn't even there then. There was some scaffolding behind the goal. That's how early in that career it was. But QPR, I mean, that was an incredible result, wasn't it? Yourself and Preece getting on the score sheet that day.
I think even turning up, I mean, the weather wasn't too bad, but we had that cold dip on the Thursday, Friday, and then everyone remembers the referee doing his pre-match testing of the field, and he said, like, if I can do it, they can do it. And I think, like, as a Premiership club at the time then, like Division 1, it's just levelling the playing field, so to get it like postponed would have suited them just fine. But like I say, atmosphere was built up again. Like Danny had made his usual comments in the press, and it was just down to us to turn it on the day. And I don't think when we looked at it as, oh, we're playing QPR and we should be in awe of QPR. It was a matter of, like, you know, we know we're good enough to win. Yeah. You know what I mean? If we do what we're supposed to do and what we've done in training, we're good enough to win.
Around that time, it was a time when County were playing Friday night football. Yeah. And I think because of you, we gained some additional profile, perhaps. And I'm thinking particularly like St and Greavesy. Yeah. I used to watch that on a Saturday, and I used to think sometimes they were disrespectful, I thought, in the early days, because they were treating you like a bit of a novelty. Yeah. But then as it went on, suddenly these clips were coming back, and they were like, this guy can't half play. and some of the goals that were scored, and we got that profile because we played on a Friday night. How did you feel about that particular show?
It didn't harm me. Like, it didn't hinder our progress as a club. It didn't hinder my process as a player. And like you say, I think it gives you a little bit of standing as an individual. Yeah. Because, like, they're talking about you. And one of the biggest things, when they stop talking about you, then, like, you're done. No one knows who you are. So I think for us on a Friday night, having that stage all to ourselves on a Friday night was fantastic. Yeah. Plus we could go on to Birmingham on the weekend as well. But yeah, it was great. Playing Friday nights was fantastic. Yeah. Like, we really enjoyed it, and it gave you the chance on the weekend to go and watch a game somewhere else. Enjoy a nice long weekend because, you know, we got the result on a Friday night.
I know you feel you owe Danny Bergara a huge debt of gratitude, and I mean, what a character. I'm sure you'll have a million stories to tell. I think my favourite story is that Peter Ward tells a story about when he turned up to sign and Danny was lying on top of the dugout with a rifle shooting pigeons off the pitch, calling them vermin and just shooting at them. Yeah. What do you have a particular memory or story about Danny that springs to mind that you always recount?
I think most of his half-time team talks, if we were in a precarious position at half-time where we were doing really well, his English would just go to absolute rack and ruin, and, like, constantly getting his words mixed up and muddled, and he'd done it so often. It was like we'd just be cracking up, and you come out at half-time, like, back onto the pitch, and, like, what did he say? We just spent 14 minutes listening to him, and he didn't say anything. But, like, he was just a character from start to finish. Like I said, when I came here, it was just to talk to him. And I think I was down in his office like 3.5, 4 hours. Like, and he just infected you with football. Yeah. Like, and that's just the way he was. And like you said, I never got the chance personally to speak to him and to thank him again after that, which I'll regret. But he was just a character. He was a character. He had his serious moments and his times when he'd lose his temper, and, you know, I suppose he was just as good as anyone for throwing a teacup across the dressing room. But he was a really, really nice guy. And like I said, when someone believes in you, you'll do anything for them.
You two are so inextricably linked, and when you moved on, obviously, to Birmingham, £800,000 record fee for this club, and the club were never going to turn that down. Yeah. And for you, I think you're quoted as saying it's the only club you would have considered. How was Danny when you left? Was he happy for you? Was he gutted to see you go? How was he?
I think he was gutted when we had a chat in his office, and, like, he says, I'm going to say my goodbyes now, and how much I appreciate what you've done for the club and the hard work that you put in. He says, but from here on now, he said, we're not friends anymore for 90 minutes. I'm like, okay, fine. This is, he made it quite clear that we will not be shaking hands before games and whatnot. We'll have to wait till afterwards and whatnot. And it's like anything else. It's business. Like, things keep moving on, things evolve, and things keep growing. And Stockport was always going to keep growing and moving on once Kevin Francis has gone. And hopefully it was the stuff that I'd done while I was here that I could be remembered fondly for. But there was never any animosity from Danny. I mean, that was part of one of the good managerial things that he had was bringing people on.
Yeah.
You know, polishing a rough diamond and then moving it on.
How did you feel when you heard about the way that he'd left the club? Because obviously, you know, the well-documented punch-up now and that awkward night in the hotel on the A6 there.
Yeah, it left a bad taste, a sour taste. You know, some of Danny's character and stature shouldn't have gone out like that.
Because he had his day in court, didn't he? But
yeah,
it's too little too late, really.
It was, yeah. And obviously he had his grievance, and maybe the time to speak up would have been sooner rather than later. Because once things just like that just fester, when it eventually comes out, it comes out wrong. So to be involved in a bit of a fracas in the hotel was like just, you know, yeah, it's a bad taste. I mean, it doesn't taint the guy him as a person, but it's just a bad episode, really.
For you, onwards and upwards, wasn't it? Birmingham City, Barry Fry, of course, a fabulous time to be at Birmingham, and you had a really good spell with them as well, didn't you? It was really successful for you. It was
a good time, and again, and like I said, probably the only club that I would have at the time would have left Stockport County for because of the way things were going. And I think Barry kind of knew that as well. And same as Danny, like jigsaws, he was building a club with like individuals that would fit in like unique places.
Yeah.
And like you say, things evolve. Like obviously, on the injury side of things, that kind of like slow things down for me. But like I say, it's evolving, getting promotion, and then getting to Wembley again.
Yeah.
And that in itself is a dream because you think, oh, you'd love to get there once, but like to get there like 4 times, 5 times, it's just ridiculous. And to score there as well. But yeah, it was funny actually with Barry. He said like he wasn't going to play me. He said because like you're not very good at Wembley. Was his words. So I'm like, right, okay. He said, like, even with scoring, so you still, like, so you still lose. So, right, okay. And then to get injured as well in the first half, like, Jesus Christ, maybe he's right.
But, I mean, the interesting thing is having had that success there, you still found your way back to Edgeley Park. But, of course, 4 games in and you were injured again. Do you regret coming back now when Andy Keighren was in charge? Do you regret that move?
No, I don't think I've regret anything. Football-wise, it's just injuries. Everything else that has happened for a reason.
Yeah.
Would I have liked to come back on a fitter and more level playing field? Yeah, definitely. But like, I mean, the time that I had when I came back, I enjoyed it. It was nice to be back and be around the club and everything. Just knowing how much the fans give to the club would have been nice to give a little bit more than that. But that was my luck. It was fated to happen that way, and then there's nothing I could have done to have changed it. But yeah, the chance to come back. I mean, I'll never go back. It's all right, it might not work for you, but it worked for me.
And I mean, the thing is as well, I know what you mean. You wonder whether you leave on a sour note then, but 2 years later you're named Player of the Century for Stockport County. I mean, that must be, I mean, out of all the things you've won, that's such an accolade, isn't it?
Yeah. And it is. It's like even saying it, you think like really? Like, club's been around quite a long time. And sure, there's nobody else. But like, it's an appreciation of your hard work. And I think I said it on the night when I was here. Kevin Francis wouldn't have been Kevin Francis without the Peter Wards, the David Fraines, like the Neil Edwards in goals and whatnot. Because it was a joint effort to get the club to where it is, and it was a joint effort to assist me with scoring goals and to being there. Yes, you still got to do the hard work, but you know, I mean, it wasn't just down to me. To get that, like the accolade put upon you is it's great. Yeah, you know, it's there. It's in history. I'll carry that.
And the other guy that you're often associated with, of course, is Andy Priest. We mentioned him earlier with the QPR game. Are you still in touch with Priesty at all?
I am, yeah. It's a bit of far and few between because like he's more of a social media cat, and I don't, because of work, I don't do. Not interested in social media. But yeah, I do, and like it was nothing but like good thoughts and praise for him once he got his move. There was no animosity about it. You know, I mean, it was Andy's time. Like, I was just hoping that he could go on and, you know, and improve on what he'd done here and emulate it and go even further. But yeah, Andy's Andy. To be fair, like sometimes he doesn't help himself, but like that's just the way he's going to be. You
mentioned quite a few terrific players from that era that you were here. Who's probably your best teammate? Who do you think the best player you played with was?
If I don't say Finney, he won't talk to me tomorrow. So, like I said, it was the squad, all the squads that Danny put together, and I think in the short space of time, it seemed like it was short that I had with Flinney, like we just got on like a house on fire.
Yeah,
and it was like,
massively underrated, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely was. And then like, he's one of those, if he'd been sitting at United with a Steve Bruce, then you'd play Flinney in front of Steve Bruce, because Flinney had pace as well. You know, it's making the most of where you put, and Flinney done that, and could he have gone on further and done better? Yeah, he could have done for sure.
Well, he nearly moved to Spurs, didn't he, at one point?
And that's the thing, it's finding that one person to take that chance and who believes in you, like we said before. But a lot of deals, when they're brought up, they're not squashed because someone doesn't like the player. It's more or less boardroom level, and they're haggling over fees and whatnot. And like, for the want of small clubs wanting more money for their players, it kind of messes things up.
Yeah.
And like I say, it nearly did with Birmingham as well. But he was definitely one of those that like could have and should have gone further.
Yeah.
Got on great with Paul, got on great with Little Willow, Wardy, funnily enough, as well. And like I say, and Priestley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Toughest opponent that you ever faced?
Toughest opponent.
Or are they all still in your pocket? Are they all still there? Are they?
Well, now I've changed my suits, so they got a bit heavy, so I had to get rid of a few of them. No. Probably, it would have been when I was at Birmingham, when we went up to Arsenal, and it was Tony Adams. Like, he just one step ahead the whole game. It was absolutely annoying. Like, and it's just his reading of the game, and where you were going to make your runs and whatnot. But then you think to yourself, well, if I had the chance to be doing this like week in, week out at this level, then like, you know, you'd be even more unstoppable. But I mean, they're all your opponents, everyone you face, like, they go out there with the intention to give 100% and the best for their team, and it was your job to score goals. It's
great to be able to chuck a former England captain in for that answer, though. That's fantastic.
Bad,
in terms of your career, obviously, as you moved on again, you had no hesitation to return to non-league, because you ended your career back in non-league. But when you look at non-league then, and you look at it now, obviously because of promotion and relegation to the league, there's just no comparison now, is there?
There isn't now. I mean, I think me and Sharon were talking about it one time. I said, look, if we'd have done non-league now, when we were playing non-league then, we might not have needed to do pro. But it just shows how the game's evolved, and how there is that capacity to put more money into the game and make it bigger at every level. Of course, you want to play as high as you can, and I think a club with the fan base that Stockport's got can and should do that. But it just makes it better for smaller clubs to grow as well. Like you say, the likes of like Mylock Rovers are no longer there anymore, whereas that would have been at this level now when I was playing there back then. Yeah.
You mentioned Sharon a couple of times. I know she's hovering around, but how important has she been to your career? Because you've been together a good while now.
Yeah, no, she's been my rock, to be fair, because without someone behind you who's going to support you and for a sense make things easier for you so you can perform for your 90 minutes in the game. And I mean, I couldn't hold her in any higher regard, because she'd done that for me, and she'd done that, like, raised our two beautiful girls as well, so that, you know, her dad could come out on a Friday night and do his job. But and then again, it's teamwork. It's finding that person that works with you, for you, and together with you that can take you forward, and she's done that for me.
You mentioned the girls there, obviously flying and enjoying their lives, and Stacey in particular, England netball over in Perth in Western Australia, having a fantastic time, I believe.
Yeah, she's doing well. Like, she's getting all of her England caps, so she keeps reminding she's got more caps than me. So it's like, but yeah, she's into her final season. So I think she's looking at coming back when it finishes this year. She's going to Commonwealth Games, or hoping to go get selected for Commonwealth Games, and then just finish out her career in the red dress of England, and like, more strength to her, more power to her. And then her sister's just her sister. She's lovely.
Brilliant. Well, tell us a little bit about life in Canada. You went out there, I think originally you were driving, weren't you? But then you moved into the Canadian Police Force, and still working there? Yeah, I'm still with the police now. We still do. I've moved to a unit now which is like called Alert, and it's half Mounties and half CPS. So it's better funded, and we can travel like the length and breadth of Canada for what we do. And the field of policing that we're in as well, and I absolutely love it. And leaving football and thinking to yourself, okay, I'm never going to find a job that'll give me as much as football did. Yeah. But then I've kind of fell into a role or into a team environment now where it's the same. Like, everyone looks after each other.
when we all work together, like the job's great and everything, and it's rewarding. I mean, if someone had said to me, I was like, join the police when I was back in the UK, no, not a chance. And it was, like I said, my best mate Dave, and I think you interviewed Dave actually at one point, and it was him who got me into it, and I'm loving it. So I'm just at the point now of, like, do I retire, do I push on another 5 years, or do I just go off somewhere warm and sit on the beach? And I think I'm going to go and sit on the beach.
Well, you're doing some coaching as well, aren't you? So you're keeping very busy. Football is still a part of your life over there.
Yeah, it is. I'm actually working with Brendan O'Connell, who used to be at Charlton. So Brendan just started up a club now, New Frontier, and so I'm coaching with him, and then plus we also do the university as well at Calgary. So that gets busy, and because it's a short window of time, because of the weather-wise, it's a lot crammed in for an outdoor season.
Yeah.
So we're just coming up to doing that now, so it's just starting to get a bit busy.
Just think of your colleagues in the police there. Are they kind of aware of your legendary status here?
No, they haven't got a clue.
Have they not? Really?
No. It's all hockey and that out there, and they know what I did do, what I used to do for a living, and they'll see clips and whatnot. And then I think we were on a job not so long back, and the one guy said, "I just watched your video." I said, "Yeah." He said, like you actually played football. I said, "I told you I played football." He said, "No, but really played football." And it's like, yeah, I did. And it's like just trying to fathom it out, that like it's how much it means and what it means to fans here. And like when you try to quantify it and talk about hockey, it's just, for me, it's poles apart.
Yeah.
Like totally.
I think it's interesting the fact that hockey is sort of the number one sport there. How able are you to keep in touch with how County are doing? Do you get to see anything at all of County?
Yeah, I do. Fortunately, I get a lot of stuff through yourself and through Steve, and then when they were doing the streaming, that was a big help. So I do get see a lot of the football, like FA Cup. They actually love the FA Cup, so like any FA Cup games are always on. So like I say, it's a big world, but media makes it small. So getting tidbits of information about County, it's easily done, and then like Sharon's on social media, so like they're always tapping her up and saying, "What's Kev doing now? And is he all right? And does he know that we've done this? Does he know County done that?" I'm like, "Yes, I know."
It's funny. I was talking to Ash Williams last week, and he was saying that Bolton game here was the greatest game of football that he's ever been involved in. He was sitting in the box watching it, and I said, "But you captained your national side in a Euros semi-final. Surely that's bigger." And he went, "Honestly," I said, "that was the best thing I've ever been involved in. I've never been so excited at a game." Yeah. For you, when you look now at what Dave Challoner has done since taking over, what's your, that little bit of maybe a distance from the club now, what's your view of how it's going?
It's going well. He's got it on the right path. I think he, as a manager and as a coach, I think he'll have a plan in mind for like where he wants to strengthen and where he'd want to like evolve the club on and off the field. And it's just the hope as an outside fan that like he gets that support, which he should do, because the infrastructure in the club now like seems to be running it really great. And once you've got that person like sitting in the dugout and he's got the command of like the 11/22 players, you just let him do it, give it his head, and let him run with it. And he just instilled his faith in the players, and they've instilled their faith in him, and that's where you're getting the results.
Well, listen, you're back in Stockport. Just finally, we know what it's going to be like for you the next few days. You're going to be stopped everywhere you go. Do you enjoy that still, or do you find it a bit of a chore, or do you love speaking to the County fans about the old days?
I do. I love it. I love speaking to the fans. I think we were talking on the walk over. It's for me, it's still surreal. I mean, I said it before. I got paid to do a job that I was gladly doing for nothing. So to have the opportunity and then to be appreciated by the fans and still be talked about when you come back, like it's great. Like it still gives you a buzz.
It's so good to have you back, Kev. Thanks for your time today.
No problem. Always good to be back.
Ta-ta.